Darren, not sure where you are. I wonder if you got the memo that I actually brought my own food tonight, so I wasn't eating with you guys. Did you guys get that?
Private joke.
My speech is a little more heavier than some of the speeches that went before me, so I was just thinking that it'd be kind of fun if I actually asked Doug Copeland to come up here and read my speech. Having Doug say, I am a transsexual woman, would be worth its weight in gold.
Couldn't even read my own speech.
I'm here to speak about one retired captain named Greg, Captain Gregory Joseph Martin. He would have liked to have been here tonight. Apparently he's in Botswana building an orphanage for some reason. Great guy. We are here tonight to celebrate firefighting. This is not lost on me, but I would be remiss if I did not speak about this new person standing before you. I ask for a little patience that you allow me to speak about Greg's firefighting career and also about Josi. There's an opportunity here I must take. Lana Wachowski, she is director of the Matrix trilogy, A Transgender Woman. She's my personal hero. She was receiving an award from the Human Rights Council. And she was reluctant to give a speech. But she said, some things we do for ourselves, some things we do for others. And this is kind of where I'm at with this speech. It's funny, when I was Greg, I used to have a reoccurring nightmare. And in this nightmare, I was standing right here in front of a big crowd of people just like this. And I was wearing a dress and really bad makeup, really bad shoes. In the dream, I ended up fleeing out that door right there. And I checked it, it's unlocked. I'm going to try not to use it tonight. On June 1st, I sat at Boston Heights parking lot. In my car, I just finished my last night shift, tears rolling down my face. I believed that I was saying goodbye to Greg, the Greg that I'd known for 50 years. I believed I was saying goodbye to my firefighting family. I believed I was saying goodbye to friends of 20 or more years. You see, the next day and each day after that, I would be Josi. And I never once believed that I could have the camaraderie that Greg had as a transgender woman. It was crushing to me. It was like there was a huge void in my life that suddenly opened up. Fast forward to July 14th. I received a text from an on-duty captain who said, Greg, there's a rumor going around you may want to address. They say you're transgender, and they have a picture of you. My worst thoughts of that June 1st morning were coming to fruition. Do you know that firefighters are surprisingly adept at rumors? They are. Most of you know the story from there. I had to set this in my own terms. I crafted a letter, attached a picture, and went out to every email address in the department. On the bulletin boards, the letter went also. What happened next, I couldn't believe. All day long, I received texts and emails and phone calls, and even a visit from our illustrious intrepid Scott Young. They spoke of similar things. As Scotty said, one, they were very happy that I was not sick, that the 40 pounds of muscular weight loss was not due to illness. 2, they wondered if I was happy. If I was happy, they were happy for me. And 3, they saw courage in what I was doing, and they respected it. This was not the nightmare I had envisioned. This was remarkable. I'm not afraid to say that I was an emotional wreck that day, emotional puddle. Could I have been so wrong? Could this conservative, male-dominated, macho, sometimes chauvinistic world, could it have changed so much right underneath me? The jackals are sure to come, I thought. And you know what? They never did. Is it because of your hearts, your compassion, your maturity, vision, your kindness? All of you took the time to send me some kindness in that day, that I'm standing here before you, and I'm out running, screaming for that exit right over there. I am grateful. Here's what I wrote on Facebook. Here's what I wrote on Facebook at the end of that roller coaster day. I get quite emotional. I hope I get through this without water. I want to thank you all for giving me one of the best days of my life. A morning wrought with angst as I woke to uncertainty was besieged by tears of joy and a smile that would not quit. There is a bigger story here than Josi's coming out. It was a story of friends who accept their own no matter what color, sexuality, or mix of gender. Acceptance beyond any bullshit stipulation society or special interest groups put on us. This day belonged to being authentic and being our true selves. In the end, people will love us no matter what. What an amazing day. I'm emotionally exhausted, but never have I felt more at peace. You were all wonderful beyond my wildest dreams. Indeed, my friends at Coquitlam Fire Rescue, you made a liar of me, and I was never so happy. It came from a broad spectrum of the department. Hell, even Owen sent me some kindness. And speaking to one of the captains a few days later, he made me laugh out loud when I answered the phone and he answered, "Hello, gorgeous." In our ensuing conversation, I asked if I was cannon fodder at the coffee table. And he said, "No." He said, "Not at all." He said, "One of the guys the other day came in and he hadn't heard. He hadn't read the email, he hadn't heard anything. He overheard us talking about this story." And he said, "What? Greg Martin is transgender? He's a she now? Wow." 2, well, is she happy? And 3, what's for lunch? Another colorful friend and captain was texting me and he was being especially nice to me. So I quipped back to him. I said, "Well, you're being awfully sweet tonight. Make no mistake, I still think you're a dick." And he responded with firefighter endearment. Sorry for the crudeness there. He said, "Shut up. When do I see your boobs?" Okay, if you guys don't understand firefighting culture, he either wanted me to shut up, and he definitely did not want to see my boobs. But in those words, somehow, I knew I was going to be all right. We have a strange, cryptic language in firefighting, how we give love and support. I felt guilty for hiding truths from you, truths of my true inclinations, of who I was to become. And I'm sorry for that. My brothers and sisters, you deserve to know. I just didn't know how to do it without a myriad of complications. I'm sorry for that. There are many people in this room who that mean more to me than I've ever said. But at this moment, I just want to bring to light three. The first was my first training buddy, my mentor, my friend, Pete Drummond. I miss you. Gary Berg, who I worked with for many, many years, and I respected on very many levels. I wish you were here. And Chief Bertrand, who was very good to me as a chief. Thank you. Thank you, guys. Every transgender story is different. I had a great run as a man. I love my life, and I was proud of the achievements I had as Greg. I did not hate my body, my gender, or my place in life. Yet when I turned 45, and I looked at my future, I knew I could retire at the age of 50. And I said, what am I going to do? And a little voice, possibly long suppressed, said, you can be a girl. And in those 5 words, suddenly made a lifetime of sense. It's too long, sorry. To be clear, when I was transitioning, I did my job well. I served as I should, but I had lost the fire in my belly. I had no more passion for firefighting. It was time to go. And I'm thankful for my Quint 5 crew who made me look good. Max Sullivan, Pat Wilkie, Reese Bailey, and a host of junior guys. Thank you guys, I'm grateful. I also want to thank the wives of many firefighters who contacted me with encouragement, love, and support. Many of these women I had never met. Many more I had not seen for years. One of the wives cornered me for a coffee date, and this was actually before I came out as Josi. And she had seen a picture of me, and she was quite alarmed. So we met, and we hugged, and I said, how are you? And she said, no, how are you? And I said, good. She said, are you? And I said, okay, why don't you tell me how I am? You seem to know something. She's not very shy. And she said, I think you're transitioning. I just went. I was floored. Hadn't seen her for a long time and saw one picture and she figured it out. You guys I worked with for 20 years, you didn't have a clue. Thank you to you, ladies. To my wonderful girlfriend, Evie, who's here with us tonight. Those big brown eyes have been a sanctuary for me for many tough days over the last 2 years. And she was the first one to hold Josi's hand and walk down the street, proudly, unabashedly. People would question her gender, or question her sexuality, And she said in the most eloquent way, the most beautiful way, I don't know, I just love her. My mom was also here. It took her a while to come around, understandably. A boy for 50 years, suddenly a daughter. And I remember our first outing was, we decided to go to Kits and get our nails done, very girly. Went to a salon and it was packed, and I'm midway down talking to an esthetician. Mom's at the front. And all of a sudden I hear this voice going, and it's growing louder and louder. And the voice is going, Greg, Gregory, Greg, Greg. Well, every woman in the place turned to see, who the hell is Greg? And I just hoped it would go away. It did not. Turned out my mom, and she's holding a bottle of nail polish. It might have been black for all I know. What's this? Good. We had a long talk about trying to use Josi more appropriately. It was adorable. I love him. I have one final story to tell. It's a firefighting story. This call happened 12 years ago, approximately. But I carried this call. on every subsequent call afterwards. I was driver at Engine 2 at Mariner. We just started our night shift. There was a fresh snowfall. Medical emergency came in, cardiac. It was at the end of a cul-de-sac. I knew where it was. As I turned down the cul-de-sac, I could see a little old lady standing at the end of her driveway. She's wearing a bathrobe, shivering in the cold and snow. We pulled up and were directed to the inside. Apparently her son had collapsed with a heart attack. The guys went in, I secured the rig and I joined them. We did CPR. Eventually ambulance crew arrived, and as driver I was relieved. Out of the corner of my eye I saw the little old lady. She was in a solarium off to the side just staring out the window. So as firefighters do, I awkwardly went in to try and offer support. I don't think she heard. She just simply looked out the window and she said, "I am an old lady. I have lived many years. I have been through many things. But I've never felt so alone and so terrified in all my life as I did when Marcus collapsed. I dialed 911. I went out and I waited and I prayed." She then turned to me and she said, "Then I saw you guys coming down the street." Sorry. "In your big red truck." She said, "You looked like angels." We didn't save her son, and I thought about that call for many days afterwards. I thought about maybe if we'd done better CPR, maybe if I'd driven faster and ignored the bad snow conditions, all the crap we do to ourselves when we lose calls. But the more I thought, I had an epiphany, and I was thankful for that epiphany. I needed a bigger truth here. The truth is, sometimes we save lives, sometimes we save precious property, other times we do not. But it all matters. Sometimes we pull a family of 3 out of a burning house at Christmas, and other times we don't save a woman's son. But the fact that we are there when people are going through some of the worst moments in their lives, and they are not alone, that is the bigger truth. Be compassionate. This life, this career, it's extraordinary. It's a great life. Be compassionate. If one thing that you guys have taught me at Coquitlam Fire Rescue, being compassionate is what you do well. Thank you.